So, this is my third time explaining how this works, and it's been a while, so enough has changed that it's actually worth explaining how it works again. And because I'm still not entirely sure how to do this, I figured a diagram would be the least I could do. So, this is just a general kind of mile-high view of how the new engine works. For 4 point whatever, they're all going to be the same after 4.0, assuming I don't rewrite it again. The general steps are as follows. So whenever a new monster spawns, one of two checks will happen. The second check is actually new to 4.4. But the first check is if the artifact's enabled, great, go ahead. If it's not enabled, but you do have the new config option on that'll allow it to continue to work while disabled, again, it'll go ahead and say, great, cool, go to the next step. If it's not, then there's no reason to check and nothing will happen. But if either of these are true, right, the artifact is on, or it's disabled but still technically on, does a quick little check and says, is the engine ready? If it's not, then there's an emergency get ready procedure. Shouldn't cause any errors. It's been out for, I think, since 4.2, I think. Don't actually remember when I added that, but should prevent you from having any null references or anything like that. And then it can move on. It checks and see if we've seen or made a master for this monster type yet. So let's say a Lemurian spawns. It asks, hey, is there a Lemurian master copy yet? If there isn't, it makes one. If there is, then it can move on to the next step. The monster gets its own little set of genes, and the first step is to just immediately copy the master. Pretty simple. It's just an exact copy. Then it has to check again if the artifact is enabled because of this new disabled check. It has to check again, is the artifact enabled? If yes, it'll go ahead and do that random mutation that it's always done, and then it'll be good. If the artifact is disabled and it's still just keeping the stat mods, it won't mutate. It'll just take whatever the master has. And after that, the monster will be alive. However, the monster won't have modified stats yet. So, like the first frame that a monster is alive, it'll be totally normal. It'll be as if the artifact wasn't on at all. But at the end of that first frame, it says, hey, I don't have my stats yet. And there's a whole system for figuring out what items it needs to get those stats. And then it hits it with a good old recalculate. And at this point in time, after all the items have been handed out and the recalculate has been run, the host and all clients will see the exact same monster with the exact same stats. And the best part is the clients don't have to do anything. They just have to figure out, the recalculate. Right? Host gives all the items out, and then everybody runs recalculate. It's really light networking load for clients. After that, it's the same old kind of song and dance from the older versions. The monster lives, the monster does damage, gets points, dies. You know the shtick. When it's dead, and then when it dies, you throw it in that collection of dead genes. This is only for the host, by the way. After it dies, the clients don't care anymore. The host does keep track of it for a little bit, kind of throws it in this kind of graveyard thing, and then every once in a while, which you can configure now how often it runs, but every once in a while it'll come through and clean up all the dead bodies and learn from it. And then it's right back up at the top with a brand new monster or all that stuff. So I understand it was pretty quick. I understand that I really did gloss over a lot of the details. That's because it's all math. And if you want to read the math, you could read the code. But yeah, that's really all that's new to 4.0 or 4.x. And I hope this is enough to explain things.